I realized my first trip to Costa Rica, it just took me by storm, and I was just like, I was telling my boys, man, they trying to kill us in the States, man. The air was different, the food, the food was different, everything
Yeah.
was different, and I was just like, wow, how can I figure out how to live overseas? You know?
Okay. It's great that you would say that. I got a book coming out called Everywhere is Possible. And so be launching that in a couple weeks. And I talk
Okay.
about that. How can a person live in another country and what steps can they take? And if, most people don't know you can live in over 60% of the world for under $2,500 a month. And I mean, live comfortably. For
Oh yeah,
example, we live in the suburbs of Cali, Colombia, and
yes.
we have a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, security, swimming pools, live in a wonderful, quiet neighborhood, just really, really nice. The gym's down the street, the grocery stores right down the street, all the eateries and malls that you want. And between our utilities, our Wi-Fi, our cable, and our apartment for the 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, with a great view, we pay $800 a month.
Ooh, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was thinking, like, because I know in Costa Rica, um, I travel, I frequent Costa Rica a lot. So far,
Yeah.
like 8 times. That's hence the name Tico. So that's what they call the locals there, Tico. So I just added, I'm black, so I added Negro.
You
So
go.
hey,
You go.
and for Costa Rica, the cost of living it's similar to Colombia, but it's very cheap. But it's like if you're vacationing, it could be pretty pricey.
That's what
So
I heard.
oh yeah, it can be pretty pricey. But if you're actually just renting, and it's not as pricey as one would think if you actually live there. But I would not try to own any property because I've done some research, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's hard to find good help, meaning like good, um, um, reliable businesses, honest businesses. So I think I would just be renting while I move out the states.
Wow. Wow. That's not bad. That's not bad at
Yeah,
all, because I often say this, that when you get ready to relocate to any country in the world, you want to do first your first few trips like you're doing your recon. You want to
yeah,
see what country you want to be in. Okay, check. What city or cities are you considering? Check. Number three, you want to do is what side of the city you want to be on. Because
yes,
one area of a city you may be in walking distance, in the other area of a city you might have to be in driving distance. So
yes,
you have to find out, and if it's in walking distance, if is one area flat, more flat, or is another area like Atlanta and San Francisco more hilly. So I often tell people your first 6 months to a year of discovering a country, you're considering moving there, make sure you look for those three things. Make sure you look, as you're looking for your country, looking for which city, looking for what side of a city that you want to live on, and those
yes.
things will make your transition a lot smoother.
And that's very good. And I also one thing I've started to do is switch my mindset from vacation to living. Once
Absolutely
you,
right.
I believe once you do that, it makes it a lot easier to pick a country for the right reasons, not for, the wrong reasons. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't really party as much, so that's not my scene. So, and I'm not moving to another country for, the chicas. That's just not me. So, for me, it's more so financial freedom. Because I know, like in the States, it's getting kind of hard, even for professionals
Getting,
like myself. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
I
And so I realized that I'm gonna be if I stay in the States, I'm not gonna be able to retire.
no, no, you're gonna first of all, uh, you're gonna get to a stage where you're gonna get that term, the R word, out of your dictionary, because true men of value, we never retire. The
Oh
Trumps
yeah,
don't retire. The Rockefellers never retired. Warren Buffett's not going to retire. They just transition into other ventures. but
Yes.
no real man of substance ever uses the R word. We always find some new ventures to go off into. You've got NFL players that became court judges, district judges.
Yes.
You've got individuals that are Magic Johnson transitioned from being one of the greatest basketball players to one of the greatest business spokesperson and marketers, such as Shaquille O'Neal has done. The same thing with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is on every other commercial now, going from the
Yes.
hip hop streets, and so there's never really a such thing for men of substance to even use the R word. But just like you're mentioning, the next stage or the next transition, you're preparing yourself for the economic stability, and no matter what stage of life that you're going to be in. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
And my question for you is, since you are actually doing it, what
Mhm.
steps did you take? What can you tell people the steps to take actually to prepare yourself to move, to make that move?
The first thing is as I mentioned before, the three steps. Actually, there are five we're going to talk about real quick. The
Yes.
first one is the mental overcoming. We've been programmed in the United States to think every other plantation is different from our plantation. And no, we have a plantation that we live on just like other people live on theirs. And so it's the mental aspect. I'm part of Reddit groups and doing research for my books and things like that. And then the 200 consultations that I've done over the last year, I've discovered this about people. A lot of times when it comes to the transition, we create excuses. Excuses
Yes.
fall into four categories. They fall into either the excuse of fears, or something that we're worried about. I ain't gonna have enough money, or I ain't got enough time to do it, whatever it may be. The next one is distractions. They've got people distracting them. They got, well, I got to go do this. I really want to move, but I got to take care of that. I got my mama. They got so many excuses of distractions. Complacency, meaning that they're in their comfort zone. Some people have been working in their career for so long, it's their comfort zone, and they can't see themselves doing anything else. I was a academic college recruiter for 20 years. I could have
Yes.
easily stayed. I was making 87,000 a year. I could have easily stayed in the States. I'm living in Tampa, Florida. I'm living in Riverview, one of the suburbs of Tampa. Got my own house. I got a convertible vehicle. I got a Ford F-150 Harley Davidson edition. You can't tell me nothing. And I got all the foreign ladies that I want. I'm living in Florida. So if anybody had no excuse, no kids, if anybody had an excuse to stay in the States and still, I'm making good money and I'm living with no snowstorms and no snow days, uh, I could have had that. But the first thing that I could have, in other words, the comfort zone excuse.
Yes.
People have to get out of their comfort zone and get out of their own way. And the last one is discouragement. So we talked about the first thing of the five that we're talking about, of the five, is mental block. Mental block of excuses, fears, distractions, complacency, discouragement. They tried to do something one time, or they read about somebody that tried to do it. Well, my friend tried to move to Poland and it didn't work. They had to come back. Well, my cousin said that da 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 da, or that's too expensive. Why are you trying to do that? My boy tried to. We use the tales of the crypt or the falter stories of others to distract us or give us an excuse to not go after our own.
Yes.
And so
And I think, and I was gonna say, I think that comes from poor preparation. And
yeah,
because like what I'm currently doing now is first I'm downsizing my way of living. Making sure no, like making sure I'm saving as much money as possible. Making sure I do the right investments. I'm investing in the stock market, investing in crypto, and in the springtime I should be ready to buy a multi-family home. I use the program through NACA, so I'm trying to get my ducks in a row before I make that
right.
transition. And
That's
certain
exactly how
things,
you do it.
and I don't want to like. I still have a car note. It's going to be paid off by the summertime, so I'm really going to put my foot to the gas to actually to transition out of the States, once, the car notes paid off of, and
Mhm.
once I'm able to find a remote job, because I'm currently in a program now for instructional design. And it's more of like a sidestep from being a teacher, like, and it's remote. So that's one thing I'm doing now. So those are my steps that I'm doing. So I'm just not just leaving it to happenstance and trying to I'm not trying to disrespect no subscribers that do. I know content creators that do it. I'm not trying to e-beg. I'm not trying to ask, because I'm a grown man. No one's going to do it but yourself. Your savior,
Absolutely correct.
so like that's my steps I'm taking now. And I like that you have outlined, 5 steps to actually take, if you are thinking of leaving the States. And I think that's very smart. And